You know the yearbooks, the ones you get at the end of secondary school, looking blissfully into adulthood, and you've got a spotty face because you're still a teenager. You know the ones I'm talking about? Yeah. So my teachers thought it would be a good idea for our year at the end of the year to pick some careers that people would have in like 10 years' time. For some reason, I never got my copy straight away. And when I did, I was at my friend's house and I was going through it. And I was just going through it and I was like, oh yeah, Scarlett's definitely going to be that and Tilly's definitely going to be that. And it was like really funny. And then I came across myself. And someone said they had thought I would be the most likely to end up in prison. Awkward. Here I am now, though, 10 years later, and I'm not in prison, so I thank God that wasn't any kind of Nostradamus prediction. But I look back, and I remember how sad I felt, and I felt really, really sad. And I think, why would I be sad? Bree Newsom from Tisch School of Art, she took down the Confederate flag out of the State House because the Confederate flag has racist connotations to it. In taking this down, she said, "We have to bury the hate. It's been too long. It's killing us, literally. We can't be warring with each other all the time. It is not right." So I think to myself, if I went to prison for this reason, my 16-year-old self, spotty as I was, would be very proud. I believe direct action is one of the tactics the Black diaspora will have to use for true social and economic emancipation. Bree Newsom's act of defiance was brilliant. And although right now, as I give you this talk, I will not be physically taking down any flags, I hope this talk will inspire you to take down any flags in your social or professional life and bury any internal or external discrimination you may or may have. I was elected as UAL's education officer, and what has always bothered me through my time in UAL was the lack of visibility of Black women in the creative industries and higher education. I decided to create Black Blossoms. It was to celebrate Black women and provide a safe space in academia and society for Black women to come together, learn, and empower and inspire one another. In the process of creating this conference, I coined the Black Blossom Statement and its founding principles. Black women are speaking up. Black women are no longer invisible. Black women are not afraid to shine. Black women are unapologetically loving themselves. Black women are championing their sisters. Black women are tearing down the oppressive, racist, and patriarchal systems which is enforced upon them. Black women are blossoming. This statement means so much to me, and every day I see ways in which Black women are blossoming, and I want to share a few of their stories with you now. Marley Diaz is an 11-year-old. She was fed up about reading about white boys and dogs, and she decided to create a book drive, 1,000 books for Black girls where Black girls were the main characters and not supporting roles. After 2 months, 11-year-old Marley reached her target. Barbara Nutemi confronted Nigel Farage and told him his party, his policies, and his politics is creating Islamophobia, racism, hate crime, and racism, therefore marginalizing more people, the most vulnerable in society. Philip Opoku, who is an activist and an LGBTQI campaigner. She made headlines for refusing an MBE this year. She said, "I don't believe in empire. I don't believe in actively resist colonialism and its toxic enduring legacy in the Commonwealth, where among many other injustices, LGBTQI people are still being persecuted, tortured, and even killed because of sodomy laws that were placed there by British imperialists. Rosalind Brewer, who is the CEO for Sam's Club, and who last year was very happy to cut ties with with a supplier for not having a diverse workforce. But this is nothing new to me. Growing up, I always read stories, and I always felt very comforted in knowing that there was many black women out there fighting for my rights, starting from my mum, who went into school to tell the teacher not to shout at me because I wanted to learn more about black history. And Rosa Parks, who said, nah, as we would say now as youth, but she probably said no. So Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat in 1955. She is classed as the first lady of the civil rights. Her saying just a simple no, just no, this led to the outlawing of this racial segregation in the USA. Just a simple no. Doreen Lawrence has been fighting effortlessly for the last 20 years to make sure that her son's killers are brought to justice. Her work launched the McPherson Report, which concluded the police being institutionally racist and brought about a number of reforms. However, just yesterday, Doreen Lawrence told The Independent that racism is still rife in the UK, and she is tired of being the only voice talking about it. Sojourner Truth, she's one of my favorites. She proclaimed, "Ain't I a woman?" when early conversations about equality for women were only centered around the white woman's experience. So I look again in this statement, and I think about a blossom. And I think, what is a blossom? And the definition of a blossom is a flower or a mass of flowers, especially on a tree or bush. And as we all know, trees and bushes and flowers are not immune to any external or environmental forces which can stop their growth. So with this in mind, I start to think, what ways can we start to help black women more in society to grow and to blossom? Sarah Reid. Sarah Reid died in police custody early this year. After suffering from a mental illness, why didn't this woman get the proper help? Why was she in custody? So share our pain and demand justice with us. There are many of us marching the streets, having vigils for Sarah. We are writing articles, we are tweeting, we are demanding that no more black women who have mental health illnesses are put in prison. Include our voices and let us tell our own stories. So this is about state of the arts, and I just want to think about the creative industries. There's only 7% of black women working within the creative industries. 7%. And the creative industries is known as the culture and taste-making industries as well. So I think if there's only 7% of us working there, how are our voices and our experiences really being told, if they're being told at all? So when I done the conference, Anna, who's the campaigns officer for UAL, came. And she wrote an article about coming to this conference with just because a majority of the women there on the day was just black women. And she wrote an article called White Face and Black Space. And Anna really wants to see true solidarity blossom. And she said, "I will speak out against racism when I see it. It is a tricky part speaking about privilege to white people who would rather not think about it. Whenever I let a racist joke slide or I tolerate discriminatory comments, I'm allowing a culture which Black Lives Matter less." So that's me. I'm also a mother. I have a little girl. She's actually quite big now. She's 6. Her name's Star. And I got a phone call just last week from one of my friends saying, B, you know, you're always speaking out about racism and race and injustices, and you know, like, you're just like a radical black feminist now. And I was like, okay, I don't know if that was nice or shade. And she said, B, are you not scared because you've got your daughter? What about when you want to go get a job and people go through your Twitter? And I'm like, well. And I said to her, I am scared all the time. I am petrified. But I need to make this world a better place for my daughter. And I am determined to make a change in society. And when Bree Newsom was released from prison, this is what she said. I removed the flag in defiance of the oppression that continues against black people globally in 2015. I did it for all the fierce black women on the front lines of the movement and for all the little black girls who are watching us. I did it because I am free.